Hello everybody, back after a long break for which I apologise. In fact, it's dawned on me that it's been a criminally long amount of time since I read a poem of my own creation on this channel, which is something I'm going to remedy right now. People are sometimes a little bit shocked. In fact, someone was a little bit shocked recently to discover that outside of scribbling verses, one of my big hobbies, one of my favourite pastimes is hunting. I'm a very avid hunter. I try and get away from the big city to my country retreat and shoot some small game every time I get a chance. And because I live in the fucking UK, it always is small game. I never really get an opportunity to shoot or to eat anything bigger or better than a pheasant. But it's something I love to do. And when people are a bit shocked by this, they go, oh my gosh, that's terrible. You're a poet, but you go and kill animals and eat them. And I'm like, yeah, but see, I have this problem with vegetarianism as a thing. The vegetarian heresy, I sometimes call it, and veganism, don't even get me started. Which is that between the ages of 13 and 18, unfortunately, I was kind of forced to be a vegetarian. I went to a vegetarian school, if you can imagine such a thing. In fact, it wasn't really a school. It was more like a kind of left-wing vegetarian gulag in northern Hertfordshire. And some of the teachers there were well-meaning, I suppose, in a hippyish kind of way, but the food there was not good, and it put me off vegetarianism for life. Interestingly, probably the only two people you would have ever heard of who went there were the B-movie director turned restaurant critic Michael Winner, and of whom I can't say very many good things other than the fact that at least he wasn't a vegetarian. And A.A. Gill, who died last year, who a food writer who had a brilliant sense of humour, and I'm very proud, in as much as one can be proud of such things, to have gone to the same school as A.A. Gill. I once watched a debate on YouTube with A.A. Gill and some dipshit who writes for The Guardian about the ethics of eating meat. And A.A. Gill, despite having gone to this vegetarian school, was very much on the let's eat some fucking meat side, and this other twat was on the vegetarian side. And A.A. Gill begins the debate by just saying, "Okay, everyone, let's have a show of hands. Who here eats meat?" And the hands go up or down or whatever. And he goes, "Yes, let's start by separating the cunts from the loonies." And he went on in the same vein, and it was a bloody good debate too. Look it up if you wish. So I haven't thought of a really good title for this poem. I'm pleased with the poem, but I think what it lacks is kind of a witty, clever title. For some reason, one has not come to me. So, I'll put it up as thoughts on vegetarianism, argument against vegetarianism, maybe even rant against vegetarianism. We'll have that as a working title. And if any of you bright sparks can think of a wittier, sharper, more clever title, I'm sure you can. You being the hive mind and everything. Leave me some title suggestions in the comments, and we'll have a little title competition, and with your permission, I'll use one of them. So, without further ado, this is my poem, which I guess is yet to be titled. Here it goes. I'll join the vegetarians when they can prove to me that nature's dumb barbarians are skilled in poetry. But until I see a ballad that was scribbled by a swine, I'll order more than salad when I'm sitting down to dine. For sonnets are not put to page by any breed of cow, nor verses ranted from the stage by any form of fowl. I'm born to be a carnivore. My star sign is the lion, and us pagan men need protein for our love of pumping iron. I'll moderate my diet when the humble, slot-eyed goat can hold within its hooves a pen and stanzas that it wrote, and I don't care if that angers every poor misguided sod who has mash without the bangers or chips without the cod, who serves sweet corn without tuna or two veg without meat. If the flora lacks the fauna, any dish is incomplete. There's no fish in Neptune's kingdom not as far as I can tell, that can boast the wit or wisdom to compose a villanelle, and neither squirrels in their drays, nor pheasants in their nides have wooed this poet with displays of their artistic sides. The mad March hare in burrowed lair, the pigeons of the wood, have no use of which I'm aware apart from tasting good. Dear, don't bust rhymes like Tennyson, so let thy bowstring thrum. Let's harvest haunch of venison right off a Bambi's mum. Let's let the French scoff snails or the legs of frogs and toads, till such slimy things avail us with dense Horatian odes. The partridge gives us one and all no reason to suppose he is soaring on what Keats might call the viewless wings of poesy. Until some beast can prove itself both literate and able of adding to my bookcase shelf, not just my dinner table, I shall sup on baby veal and get fat on fine foie gras. Let the dreadlocked vegans squeal that I'm evil and bourgeois, for their bird-like bones are brittle and their limbs are limp and flaccid. No wonder they're so little. They get no amino acid. Let them hate me for my habits of gastroturpitude. But I'd rather live off rabbits than make do with rabbit food. Thank you.